What is up, adventurers, and welcome to a brand new ShawnSetGO video. You guys knew it was coming. It's the Mythic Plus video. And then with this video, it's going to be a few comments that I think that are going to, I don't want to say ruffle some feathers, but I think this would be, this is a good discussion for, I think, anything. And that is sort of the community problem with Mythic Plus. This extends, of course, beyond to raiding and PvP, but I think Mythic Plus is, we all know, is a good place it's going to be used, and that is an I Remember You add-on. So with this add-on, you can go up to players and give them a rating. And so with that, there's a lot of cool things that I think could come from this. We could think about the add-ons that are currently used in something like queuing. One being like Radar.io, where you can see how people how much they've cleared, what their current rating is, how well they've done. I think these things are essential to grouping because people want something that says, all right, this is at least your standard that you're performing at or getting carried at. I can't tell, but it tells you a story about how well that character performs, because you don't have time to interview people and go through all those things. But honestly, I think this is a great conversation starting point. It's should we have something in the game like this that tells people, hey, this person performs well in Mythics. This person did terrible DPS. This person doesn't know this dungeon. I think the issue with something like this is that it is free text. I think if it was a list of options, I would like it better. That way it's like, all right, this person rolled as a DPS in my experience with them. These are the things you can pick from roll at DPS. Didn't know boss fights, didn't pull his weight with DPS. I think there needs to be more of like automated response as opposed to free text, because anybody can free text nonsense in there. But I think this is still a good idea. So let's look at some of the comments here. It says, floor POV. Oh my God. My list can become manifest. that block list become manifest. Send me to Dalaran Crater. Someone did that to me in Undermine. I was so mad. They were just an angry mage, though. It's okay. Definitely need this. Logged off and didn't even leave the party. Left after one pull because he pulled too much. I could go on. Yeah, some of those automated comments I think would be used frequently. My first thought too, man, the preview is awfully optimistic. Yeah, it's not gonna be, oh yeah, I had some cool mount runs. It's gonna be like, this guy, this guy is awful at the game. This guy can't do a mechanic to save his life. He thought a mechanic was somebody who fixes your car in this game. It's pretty bad. Definitely needs that, I think. Isn't this just ignore list with extra steps? It could be. I think that the more that this is something like widely used, I think it would be decent. I've been using this for a while and love it. So much easier than keeping a list. I don't see how it's toxic since any notes you enter are private, so no one else will see them. Honestly, I would prefer it to be more public. I would prefer it to be more of a community thing. This is kind of like this is too old probably, but this needs to be like a LinkedIn. When you have your profile, I need to see the ratings people have get you, and then someone can attest to it or deny it. They can go through and just be like, oh yeah, this guy knew boss fights. What are you talking about? Downvote, he's good. Or the opposite, which is, man, I ignored everything everyone was saying and it's so true. This is just people sneak by. People sneak by doing awful things in groups. It's true. It's true. And it's not just DPS. It's healers too and tanks too. Y'all be skating by because we need you, I say we, I am the tank. So, so honestly, I think this could do some good in the community. I can see people's hesitance with it being more of a public thing. People don't want to become the group pariah of the situation or try to fight something or something like that. My personal thoughts, if you're making this public, is to let things fall off, in the sense that after 2 weeks, fall off. You're a different person. Maybe you watched a bunch of videos. Let things fall off so it's not every single time, let people time to adjust to do those things. Of course, this is add-ons, these are add-ons that can be customized and done freely. But what I'm talking about is incorporating this into the actual game. I think that people are more than their Radar.io score. People are more than their Mythic rating. So to me, this is something that's more human to me. This is more human than to that. Right now, all I have to go off of is what is their current score? The second thing is, what realm are they from? And then the third thing is, are they playing a meta or non-meta class? I'm not a meta slave. I really am not. But when you're filtering things out, you gotta have something that you're going by. So I mean, what am I gonna pick? I'm not saying I'm gonna avoid picking somebody because they're not meta. I'm just saying if I'm picking one or the other, I'm probably gonna pick somebody who's the more of the meta. It's more conducive to my group, and it's no judgment against the person who's not. I mean, if they're the only person there, sure. But I mean, like one over the other, then this kind of gives like some weight to it. It's like he's like, hey, this person's not a meta class, but they pull solid DPS and they know all the fights, they know what they're doing. So I think something like this could be positive in the Mythic community and not necessarily toxic. Will people turn it toxic? Do we play the same game? I think we play the same game. People will find a way to turn anything toxic. So let's not let that be the situation. I'm not one to advocate. It's guns don't kill people. People kill people. But people are toxic. So but people are in the game. What are you going to do? So earlier this week, I had a tank remember me, Hunter, from doing some runs earlier last season, made my day. Very nice. You should add the row next to this description where you can filter your feedback. Bad people at the bottom, good people at the top. So we don't have to scroll past the bad people. This is why I think there needs to be an addition to this, to where things fall off and do get cycled out. Because as much as you can have maybe personal notes against a certain person, I don't think it's good to universally label somebody as a pariah. I think people can change and do better. So apparently slept with my mom. Who hasn't? Oh my God. I've been using this add-on for a couple seasons now. Great add-on. My ADHD non-existent memory thanks you. I don't know if necessarily I've run into like somebody who did poorly in a group again. Like it just doesn't happen to me a bunch. I'm also not adding people really after Mythic Plus groups, even good ones either. Like there's very little conversation in a good Mythic Plus, and the only conversation you have in a Mythic Plus typically is best when things go poorly. So it's not necessarily something I totally remember. So I get having add-ons like this, but I don't talk a whole bunch. So I lived for the day when you can remember accounts instead of just characters. Yeah, I mean, I do miss the days when you play in a group and like that one person just really shines and really does well. It's insane. When I was in Classic, I found another warrior. I was leveling warrior, and like they were super knowledgeable. We ended up doing 3 dungeons together just because they're like, hey, you want to do some more? We ended up doing so many dungeons together that I ended up joining his guild and then met a huge community of people. I miss those days. I wish it was easier for people to continually group in those sense, but I think too many people are off doing other things. You know, it's not like how it used to be. So I mean, I think you need add-ons like this to kind of supplement those behaviors in a sort of way. Let's see. I've used this add-on for a bit before, but something I could really use is better options of editing an entry, making an entry manually, adding someone from a Wisp or other methods where you can have their name pretty much defaults. Yeah, like a favorites list. I think a favorites list would be a good thing. Honestly, I think the free text is something that I don't prefer in something like this. I think it needs to be more of a list of options. People go too wild with those. Like people are going to be very picky. I just think it needs to be something easy to go from. I might try this out and see how much I like it, and then kind of go from there as far as how much I'd want to improve it or change it. For a guy who plays alone, this might be my new favorite add-on. Whatever the cap list, whoever the cap on this list, the list it was would get filled in days of keys. Yeah. I don't necessarily side with that. I think that it's a little overblown. Not all keys are bad. I have something called a personal blacklist. Oh, geez. That's a useful add-on. Then saying how many people have Mythic Plus, 2200 IO Plus, and they're just awful at raids. Barely green parsing. Yeah, I think that's, I mean, that's just kind of the way it is. I mean, you're in a group of 5, someone's going to carry you. That's just kind of the way it is. I've been using this for months now. I regularly use it to track Mythic Plus players and help me form groups several times. Yeah, as long as there's like a favorite list, people you can add regularly, or a way that when I didn't see it in the video, but when you hover over people, when you're in the grouping, let me pull up here. You see right here. Okay, so yeah, the notes. As long as that's always there, and I think that's good. I would love to have this add-on just to see how many people I've encountered in the past. So, do I stand out as man? I wonder if I have any notes on me. I think that'd be depressing. You see your notes on yourself. Oh man, that's gotta be rough. That's good. That's a tough thing to deal with. I gotta say, get the self-reflection add-on. That's gonna be tough. Let's see. Nice. It would be cool to have had some clickable badges with auto suggests, like zone instance type. Maybe. I'm downloading this first thing. Needs now. What an amazing idea. Yeah, I think a lot of people have like a similar sentiment. I think people want to have a way they can filter people based off of experiences they had with them. I think if this is something that's implemented into the game, I think it can make positive change for how people behave. I'm not always the biggest fan of policing like WoW as a whole, or trying to be like the thought police or the like the behavior police in a game. I think sometimes it's part of it, but I also do think that there has to be a degree of community moderation. And then with that, moving a bit further than Blizzard moderation. So I think that this doesn't work unless there's actionable things that can occur from Blizzard. Not necessarily bans, but hey, your bad behavior is getting you in trouble, and that's why people aren't inviting you to groups. So maybe change that. So I think that's totally fine, because there are people who are just sour with the world and want everyone to be as mad as them. It's just kind of one of those things. So I hope this video was helpful for you. I'm going to kind of semi-close this video with a, what do you think of the add-on, but also what are some of the add-ons that you use to help your Mythic experience be a little bit smoother? Let me know in the comments, of course. Give this video a like, subscribe to the page while you're at it. The next thing I wanted to talk about in this, though, is a little bit of an unfortunate thing, and that is Blizzard. There's not a single staff usable by healers in this current season of M+ Dungeons. Neural Synapse Enhancer, which drops from Mechagon, takes a huge hit to primary stat for being for a cruddy active that gives you a 30-second cooldown with your trinkets. Volatic Stormcaller, which drops from Rookery, has only one secondary stat with a proc chance for double haste, but does not proc off of healing abilities, only direct damage spells. How is there not at least a third option with no gimmicks for healers? A lot of people are saying about this that that the game, I mean, if you think of that like the BIS lists, etc., it's mainly going to consist of, geez, ads, Icy Veins, like what's up? It's going to be the one-hand offhand. I don't think that's the point. I think it's that if you're going to have routes for people to earn gear, funneling them into only one series of options is kind of unfortunate. I think that there needs to be options for everybody, but I'm extending that also to melee DPS and those of us who use so many different types of weapons, but then we only get, you know, like maces one season, or we get swords another season. I think that it's kind of silly that there isn't more variety. I feel like we get a lot of the same in a season, and then everyone's just expected to use the same things, and then not a lot changes. I do miss the days when it made a significant difference what kind of weapon you were using. Some of my favorite days playing Rogue is when Rogue was heavily dependent on what weapon you were using, especially for combat. So I think that there needs to be much more variety, but also more defined differences in those routes, besides something just being a stat stick or something being like having a silly on use. You know, I think there needs to be more clear defined routes that go, because a lot of these comments in here are just going to go like, just get the one hand offhand, you know, like just do that. A lot of people are pretty specific on the staff's route, and I don't think that's a problem. I think that it's normal for people to want to gear or have gear be certain things, and so I don't think that there's any reason why there shouldn't be multiple options there. It's been that way since forever. That's just the natural way of things. I know that they at least changed it so you can, wait, hold on. Genuine question, do people still use wands? Like, I see them occasionally on drops, and I'm like, do they still exist? But who actually uses them nowadays? Wands are just one-handed caster weapons, functionally identical to daggers, restricted to cloth classes. I got a rock. Does anybody actually use these? Hold on. When was the last time my wand ever dropped? Yeah. I got one from a Pinnacle cache last week. It was my mage alt's first piece of season 2 gear. Interesting. What's the wand situation like? This is a conversation I wasn't expecting to have right now. This is kind of strange. Staffs are definitely are awful. They should just have thrown a single non-gimmicky one. The Mechagon staff is terrible on how much the unused trinkets there are between dungeons and raid. Yeah, I think variety is definitely the spice of life in this case. And whenever everyone's being funneled into the same pieces of gear, it does start to feel unfortunate. I will say nowadays it is harder to parse between like, hey, yeah, this isn't BIS, but it's decent. There are a lot of decent items out there that aren't BIS, but like people tend to very like focus on that BIS. And so I think that when it comes down to it, there's nothing wrong with that perspective that that you should just go for what the current meta says you need to go for, the current BIS says you need to go for. But I don't blame people for wanting a little bit of variety either. So kind of one of those situations where it's like, by making it not available, you're actively saying this is all you can do. So with that being said, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you liked it. Where am I going? So hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you liked it. With that being said, please do check out my other videos. We did just make a video in regards to player housing, but not like the videos everyone else has been making, but the things that people don't like about player housing, our concerns about player housing, because, there's got to be some things that we're worried about, right? So with that being said, hope you liked the video. Give it a like, subscribe to the page while you're at it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.